I just hope it rains because that'd be the funniest thing on the planet. I can't lie. Can we get some rain?
Why do you want rain?
Because it's so damn fun when everyone's like, no one's practiced rain. Let's be honest. It's, I mean, like, no one has. Voice chat suspended. As if I didn't ask. Please give us rain. That would be the fun. That would be the highlight of my week. And I'm literally just came back from Silverstone.
Sensational.
Sensational. Yes! Let's go! Every time I've called for it! Every single time I've called for it! Anyway, I should actually focus on that. Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Lucas and welcome back to another F123 League Racing video here on the channel. And today we have PSGL round, well, I don't even know what it is, round 2, 4, whatever it may be. But yeah, here we are at Brazil. One of the craziest tracks to do a league race on, just sheerly down to how much battling you can get, especially in this year's game with all the slipstream and stuff. But yeah, if you're wondering why I said round 2 and not round 4 and all that stuff, it's because the championship technically got reset after the whole tyre wear
a lot of people are burning
drama thing, problem, whatever it was. And I couldn't make the third round at Zandvoort the week before. So here we are, back on the grid now. Yeah, I couldn't make it because I was at McLaren that day, MTC, for last week. But nonetheless, we are in Q1 now, and as you can see, it is sensational weather. And we have got 4 minutes left on the clock as the circuit was drying more and more as the session progressed, and I didn't feel the need to waste my tyres any because I didn't know how much it was going to rain through the qualifying 100%. But this is my very first attempt in the wet round Brazil, full stop on this game, which is a very tricky thing to get right. And as you can see, we are fighting the car, we are hustling it around. Yeah, because you're pretty much guessing at this point. You're just using all your knowledge, using all your, you know, built up experience of various conditions and all that stuff to, yeah, put together a lap without having done a single lap in the wet on the game around this track. I don't think anybody had done, no one really does wet practices for league races at this phase in the game. Obviously for esports it becomes very different, but as you can see, we go straight to the top of the board with our first and only lap at that point in the session. And then we actually did a cool down lap, and then we went again in the track. As you can see immediately just by looking at the delta, I have a bit of a snap there, which unfortunately cost us a little bit, but as you can see we're already a tenth and a half up. So the track was just constantly getting drier and drier and drier as the session progressed. And yeah, we were just trying to put together as clean a few laps as possible. We're P1 at the moment on a 16-1, but improving will do us absolutely no harm. So just trying to keep it nice and smooth this time, because we had a few, you know, wobbles and snaps coming through this segment and the lap before. Holding third gear this time through here, keeping the line a bit tighter, focusing on the traction and then gaining a bit on the exit. We had a big old snap in this corner the lap before as well. We get it nice and fed to the apex pretty smoothly there, and now we're 3/10 up. Now we're fighting the throttle, fighting the car as we come around this corner, using all the road in the exit, which you don't need to do in the dry, but you're just real limited in traction all the way through there. Nice clean through the last corner, nice and clean I should say, and now we have 4.5 tenths in the pocket. Nothing amazing in this lap, but more than enough to see us through. Not really taking any crazy risks, as we knew we sort of had a pretty decent buffer to work with, and that put us P1 by the slenderest of margins, with Danny and Barry P2 and 3 right behind us. And yeah, Wilson also through thankfully as well on also just the 2 laps at the end of the session. So yeah, nice and efficient, but we kind of didn't really need to do that, because as you can see now, we are heading straight onto what is a freshly drying track. The track had at this very second only just gone dry, fully dry, and that's why you're seeing us only now just going out. This was our first attempt in this session at all. We didn't go out at the earlier part, I don't think, from memory. I think we just stayed in and waited for the dry, and yeah, just trying to, it's a very difficult thing just to jump, especially in qualifying, to go from a wet condition straight onto the dry condition, because the force feedback fundamentally is completely different when you're on inters and slicks. You know, the feeling in the steering, the weight of the steering with the different tyre is very, very different. So, you know, it's a bit of a, you sort of arrive and drive and you've got to adapt very, very quickly. Not the most amazing of laps, but we still managed to just about pip it to P1. But here we are now for our final run in the session, and I really wanted to try and hook it up now. So heading into turn 1, you can just see immediately so much more commitment, just knowing where the grip is, having that feeling now, and we gain a 10th in the first couple of corners. So looking really nice through those opening sequences. But heading into turn 4, as you don't even see it, but we get on the grass and we lost a 10th and a half through that corner. I'm pretty sure that was a 10th and a half we just lost there. And at this point I was like, right, well, I need to send everything now. So at this point I was fully sending the remainder of the lap, because that cost us a lot of time, pushing the exit a bit there, heading into this right-hander. Get a nice rotation, smooth on the power, and the delta starts to kick up now, but I still really need to send it. So coming into the last corner, we brake super late, getting into the apex nicely, smooth on the power, and we gain loads in the last corner. That was a really good last corner. Not perfect, but certainly not bad whatsoever. And we still managed to pull back lap time, so we lost absolute miles of time in that lap. Let's just not hit grass this time, Wilson. Make our lives a little bit less difficult. Bloody hell.
Let's try not to do that.
And yeah, we managed to get ourselves into P4 and through into Q3. And we're in a very unique situation here, because we have a triple run. Because we didn't need the dry tyres in Q1 and some of Q2, we have 3 sets of brand new softs to use in this qualifying session. So here we are for the first of those, heading into the end of sector 1, and we actually get a pretty solid sector 1. So it has been a pretty solid start to this qualifying session, heading towards the middle sector now. However, we are about to get, you know, some of the one of the weirdest things I've ever actually experienced. But you might start to notice I'm starting to understeer more and more as we head through this lap. You know, picking on the power, trying to get on the power. The car's going to be quite a bit more snappy than normal. Not quite getting a good braking there, but your car not behaving as it normally did on the traction, on the power, as we head towards the last corner. Maybe overshooting it a little bit through the last corner. But yeah, not an amazing lap whatsoever. But the reason for that, or for the reason for the understeer, I should say, is because my differential on the steering wheel kept flicking over to 60 instead of 55, and I can explain that on this, well, I mean, I can't explain it on this run, but I'll explain it on the next run. But yeah, another good sector 1. Sector 1 was the hardest sector to nail for me. I was super quick in the middle and the last, but sector 1 was the hard one for me. But yeah, heading into sector 2 now, and we completely overshoot. That one was on me, just pushing too hard, trying to make up the time. So this lap was in the bin. But here we are now for the final run of qualifying. And yeah, we really wanted to try and put it all together. So heading into turn 1, braking really, really late, but getting beautiful rotation into the apex, onto the power, and we are up once again through sector 1. So we were hitting a stride through sector 1, and that was our trickiest sector. So we were pretty confident of putting together a good lap at this point. Heading into turn 4, a little bit less committed than the first run, but we didn't really lose much, and that's the main thing. But heading into the middle sector now, we come through this right-hander, we change our differential mid-corner, you can see my thumb move, and then we are going to have the exact same issue in qualifying here. The differential flicked to 60 again. You can see the car just doesn't want to turn through that corner. I brake a little bit deep into there, but on the traction, the car's just snappier than I would like it to be. But heading into the last corner, braking a bit too early, not a great last corner from me, but through that middle sector, fundamentally, we just had so much understeer, and it was so frustrating because I didn't feel like I was able to drive normal laps. The last corner's on me, I made a mess of that, but I was so frustrated.
To 60 for the middle. It's literally impossible to go quick when it's there.
So yeah, as you can see, yeah, I was not a happy bunny with that whatsoever, as I felt like this qualifying was, this Q3 was super unoptimal.
That's a very different.
Didn't manage to get a single nice attempt, I felt, which was very frustrating. I was really looking forward to, you know, trying to put in some good laps towards the end, and didn't get remotely close to doing so, which is a shame. But to be honest, qualifying didn't really matter in this race, as you're probably about to see over the course of the next 36 laps. Lights out, and we are away. The force feedback wasn't even connected there, because you have to do a whole lobby reset, so my force feedback actually didn't kick in until I wiggled the wheel there. But heading into turn 1 now, we have what's the word? A mixed strategy on the grid, as we have Fabrizio Donoso on softs, Barry on hards, Berezny on softs, myself on hards, Shinaka on mediums, Jarno on soft. So you might as well, you know, I mean, it's about as random as you're going to get it. It was a very, very mixed bag on the strategy, but we have opted for hards, same as Barry ahead of us. And yeah, now it was all about just settling into the race, getting into a rhythm, and focusing on trying to keep ourselves out of trouble and avoid any of the, you know, the other runners around us who are on the softer compounds, and trying to keep our noses clean. So heading round the final corner, or the final actual corner, for the first of 36 times in this race, tucking into the slipstream nicely. Jarno up me on the softs, going for a move on Shinaka Clay, same as Danny Berezny in front of us. He uses the ERS to get past Barry. We lift off the bat. I don't have any interest in fighting Barry. I actually give him a little bit of a nudge just because everything braked really early. But Jarno now on those softs, which at this phase in the race will be miles faster than the hards, just for these very few opening laps. Those softs will be very, very good. Had a little look on our outside into one, didn't quite stick it, but yeah, me not opting to fight Barry, it made zero sense for me to do that at this point in the race. But as you can see now, Jarno blasting the energy, and I was already down to 55. So you can literally see here, I bail out the throttle completely, because it made no sense for me to fight this move.
Can scream about it as much as they want.
Yeah, I mean, people can scream if it was a good move or whatever, but I mean, yeah, wasn't really much to do there. I mean, it didn't make any sense for us to fight that one. You know, because ultimately, what's the point in me using ERS to defend from that when he's going to have more grip anyway, and he's just going to keep attacking? It just didn't. You know, you've got to pick your fights in these races, and that was not one of them that made any sense whatsoever. And skipping on now, you can also see Shinaka Clay and Jake Benham fighting like crazy. Jake also on the soft, so yeah, if you look into a rearview mirror now, Shinaka, honestly I have no idea what really happened there. I just saw Shinaka fly right up to the back of his, Jake also fly up to the back of his, and I think the both of them ended up in a little bit of a collision. So that was pretty scary, because I thought for a moment I was getting taken out there. But skipping on to lap 6 now.
Barry, if you can.
Yeah, Barry and myself on the hards, who were, you know, being quite intelligent with each other. So, you know, we're on the same strategy. The fight is later in this race. I was so unsure as to which way Jarno was going to go here, because I didn't know if he was going to go inside, outside. So that was a little bit of a miscalculation from me. I wasn't quite sure which way they were going to go.
No idea which direction it was going.
But yeah, skipping on to lap 7 now. Tom Manley trying to fight his way through now. Everybody I think everyone was super punchy this race. There was a lot of fighting going on in this race. Yeah, we're down to 53% battery, but now we are, you know, right with Barry, and we are going to catch up to Berezny and Donoso ahead of us by lap 9, as you can see. But I actually accidentally give Barry a nudge there. He just slowed down a bit more than expected. I mean, it's always the job of the car behind to, you know, try and avoid these situations, but that was a silly moment from me. We have to use a bit of energy to defend from Tom there, but yeah, all these little nudges on Barry, I apologised after the race, and I mean, Barry said it's all good, because he knows it's super easy to do that this game with the way the braking is and the way the train is, because you're going to see in this race the speed of the people on the brake, under braking, the speeds. I mean, watch this then, like, people, it was a very tricky race to manage your distance. You had to have you had to be very switched on and have good spatial awareness, as we nearly lose it through turn 3. You never see that, but going all the way on the inside of Berezny's, giving it a little bit of a switch, as we thought it was quite important to get that move done, having to use a bit more energy again, which was just a common theme in this race, having to burn energy. But skipping on to lap 12, now we have Fabrizio now. we go up the inside. We try not to outbrake ourselves. We didn't want to, run into the back of anyone. But Fabrizio, not exactly wanting to let me pass, put it that way. DRS open. Thankfully, getting the defence on Bresnay. But yeah, that meant we had to bleed even more battery. Which thankfully in this first stint wasn't the be all and end all.
That's interesting.
That was interesting. But skipping on to lap 14 now, we thought it wasn't really worth trying to do much because we kind of predicted Fab was going to pit anyway. But skipping on to lap 18 now, we've recharged a bit of battery. So we're kind of alright again. But now opting to overtake Barry on this lap as we are going to be boxing right at the end. We actually pinched the front left there, which caused a bit of understeer. But yeah, on lap 19, lap 19. And we are going to be boxing at the end of this lap, as you can hear Anton over the radio, our goated engineer, communicate to us. Barry decides to extend for one lap, which will give him some good rubber towards the end of the race. We were quite slow in that pit entry, but I wasn't quite sure of what the pit entry regulations was with whether you were allowed to cut those lines or not, so I just took it, better safe than sorry. Into the box, and we're going to be fitting a set of mediums, which should be pretty cooking for the rest of the race. And now we need to just try and get our heads down and catch up. And we've got a lot of overtaking to do. The way this strategy works is we have to overtake and pass, everyone to win this race. And as you can see, Tomic, who was actually P3 behind us before the pit stops, is in P14 ahead of us, and we are within that DRS. So now it is all about getting the head down and, getting to work and trying to catch up again. So yeah, these mediums actually, it was quite weird. Like the grip was good, but equally not good. Like the tyres were obviously cold coming out of the pits, but it was a very weird grip balance at this point with the mediums not being up to temperature. But I actually made quite a big mistake here, being too greedy on that entry, and we lose the DRS to Tomic, which we might have lost anyway, to be fair, because the mediums were still firing up. But that was a silly mistake from me. Lost half a second there. I don't think it impacted anything way too majorly, thankfully, but that was not my finest moment. But as you can see now, by the one lap undercut, even with that mistake, you can just see the massive difference it made. I couldn't believe how powerful it was. But Barry will have the tyre advantage now of one lap going towards the end of the race. But now it's going to come down to how quickly can I get through the field and get myself towards the front. And this is where the fun begins. So skipping on to lap 22 towards the last corner of lap 22, sorry, and we have Jed Norgrove in sight. We see us flashing, so we decide to open up the ERS a little bit, get the DRS on. I don't opt to not use a little bit of energy for a bit. And his connection was a little bit sketchy there, so I was a little bit scared with how his car was yo-yoing, as you could just see there with the way he lagged back. But yeah, getting up to P11, and now we can set our sights on the cars ahead. Tomic had already used his battery, so I was sort of just trying to play it patient on that one. Alvaro, this was quite weird because I tried to go for the outside, but he actually was trying to let me past, which I was not expecting, but appreciate that, Alvaro. But yeah, as you can see now, Tomic diving up the inside, overcooking it a bit, and we go round the outside of the two of these guys, and they actually collide. And that is 2 for 1 into that corner, which was, an unexpected surprise, that's for sure. But yeah, skipping on now to the end of the lap, we are catching Jake, who is on, I believe, an older set of mediums, as he started on the soft tyres from memory. And yeah, now skipping on a bit to
35.
Yeah, skipping on to the start of lap 24 now, but yeah, not even using any energy, closing. We dive up the inside, we have the grip advantage, and that is another position for us up into P7. And next up we have Shanaka Clay on the hard tyre. So this race was just a mix of strategy of tyre life and compounds. Don't even opt to use any ERS with this one, we just play it nice and clean up the inside. And next up is the top 5 train. So we are making excellent progress at this point, but that's gone pretty swimmingly up to this point. But here we are now using a bit of energy. Tom Manley out of energy. We opt to try and dive it round the outside. Bit overcooked from my end there, can't lie. But yeah, wasn't quite expecting Tom to defend that one at that point with the ERS and stuff. But yeah, didn't opt to go up the inside here, as it is so sketchy to go for a dive up this corner sometimes. If someone moves late, you're going straight into the back of them, and I was quite unsure of how that was going to go. But we see a gap, we go for it this time, dive up the inside, we get really, really close. I mean, I'm going to be honest, right? That looks worse than it was, because I was not like over sending into the apex. I think just the way the contact looked was not ideal from my end, but I don't really think that was anything, you know, outrageous, because I think it looked worse than it was. But here we are now with Brendan Lee, one of the hardest people to actually fight, and you're going to see why. He doesn't give you an inch, and it's all good. I mean, I'm good mates with Brendan, but I mean, he can be a tough customer on the track, that's for sure. But we get the move done into turn 1. He has a look at my outside. Now we have Barry, who's caught up to us now, unfortunately, due to all of this fighting, and he obviously has the tyre advantage. But now we have no ERS, but Brendan actually goes for the gap. We're going 3 wide into here, and at this point I thought I was yeah, not making it out. We try and go around the outside now. Brendan dives in about as deep as you're ever going to go. And yeah, I didn't want to hit Barry here. I literally couldn't avoid that. And yeah, now Barry's on the inside. I'm just going to try and hold the outside. There's nothing I can really do to try and avoid all of this. Barry leaves us enough room, which is fair play. But yeah, nothing. That's yeah, I should have covered the inside into turn 6. That was on me. But equally, I didn't think it was going to be made 3 wide, because if I don't bail out of that in some form, then we are all probably not looking too good. But skipping on to lap 28 now, we get the move done. We have absolutely no battery now, and yeah, we are now focusing on trying to regenerate our resources now. We're on lap 31 now, and we have still very limited battery as Barry dives up the inside of Fabrizio, going into the middle sector. They're still side by side. I'm just feathering out of the throttle, just not sure how it's going to go, and I have a little look up the inside now while Fab is still pinched on that outside line. There's a little bit of wheel bang in there, but it's all good. And now we want to try and get, because we're going to get the DRS no matter what, so we have a look up the inside. We are perfectly on the apex. Fab gives us a little bit of a squeeze, which I don't think he was too happy about, but I mean, I don't see anything I did wrong there whatsoever. I think it was just, you know, robbing his racing, I guess. I mean, I can't really go more to the apex. But yeah, we had no energy, so Fab just immediately came straight back at us, so unfortunately that was kind of pointless of me making that move. With power of hindsight, I just didn't have the energy, and that was all. That all stems back to having to fight Brendan so hard, is just not having the energy. But we decide to give it an absolute big send up the inside, nicely on the apex, give plenty of room on the exit, hold it round the outside, have Fab pinched. We're right out on the curb. I don't know how we made contact there. I mean, I gave plenty of space, but it's all good. I think it was just tough racing. Certainly cleaner than the majority of racing you sometimes see in league racing. So yeah, now we have Barry attacking for Danny Bresney. I was so close to breaking my wingy. I'm no idea how I'd just about bailed out of the throttle in time, but Fab is actually tagging my rear now. Is Bresney and Denoso are going side by side now. Yeah, I was actually getting pushed through turn 4 as well. It was an absolute. These laps were mental. But here we are, skipping onto the last lap, and as you can see, I still had no energy. My engine was overheating, and yeah, Jarno and Barry were fighting for the lead, and I was trying my best to stay close, but I had no energy, so it was like I was always in a deficit, like not even like the high 10%, not even like 10%, like I had nothing. So these guys were fighting like crazy, and there was so little I could really do about it. It was pretty annoying. I wanted to really get in the fight, but it was pretty tricky to do so. I bail out of the throttle here because I didn't think it made any sense to try and get any closer. But coming into this corner, I lock up the front, trying to avoid the back of them. If I don't avoid that, then if I don't brake to lock up there, I run into the back of Barry. So that was a bit frustrating. It wouldn't have changed anything in the end because I still had absolutely nothing on the battery. But yeah, heading now round the final couple of corners of this race with one corner to go, coming around the last corner, and as you can see, Beresny is still right with us, who we presume has just saved battery up to this point, of which we have literally 0%. And unfortunately for us, he pips us on the line. Barry manages to get past Yarrow for the win.
Friggin' mess that was. Nothing we can do.
But yeah, that was about as chaotic a race as you will see it in PSGL. Things didn't quite work out for us. I think we had pretty damn good race pace, and just pace in general. But that is just how quickly things can go from looking good to not looking so good in league racing. Things can change very, very quickly and in a blink of an eye. But yeah, it was a hell of a crazy race, a hell of a fun race, and yeah, we were fighting all the way, battling all the way. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that video. It's possibly one of the craziest PSGL races I've ever taken part in. I'm just glad that we never got our wing swiped off, or that we actually survived. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Appreciate the support as always on the channels, all over the socials, and here on YouTube in particular. It's been really cool to see you guys enjoying this content. This was a crazy race, so I hope you guys really enjoyed watching it, whether it was live or here on YouTube. So yeah, appreciate the love. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content in the future. But yeah, until next time, guys, we will have. We should have WR Brazil on Sunday and Las Vegas PSGL next week. So plenty of league racing to come for you all. So appreciate the love, everybody. Catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Love yous all. Ciao.